Scholars, welcome back from lunch. Did everyone have something to eat?
Scholars, we are gathered here now for the final debate of the junior division here in Barcelona. It is known as a debate showcase. It is not a debate among two top teams, but rather a chance to showcase the tremendous achievement, the tremendous diversity of achievement in debate within this community.
Now, scholars, you will be somewhat familiar with the debate showcase from your regional rounds, where we called up 8 different scholars who represented 8 different schools to form 2 new teams of 4. It will be somewhat similar today, but instead of just calling up 8 scholars from 8 different schools at this most diverse global round ever, we will be calling up 8 scholars who represent 8 different countries and span, I believe, 4 different continents.
Indeed.
And scholars, we know that our 8 speakers on stage are not the only top speakers, are not the only judge-nominated speakers here with us in this room of over 1,000 scholars. And that is why, just like at your regional rounds, you will not have 1 judge, you will not have 2, but you will have a panel of judges made up of many other scholars who also have done very well in their debates.
And the truth is, no matter how many scholars we call up, 8 on stage, 15 in the panel, there is no way we can honor here today every single great speaker in a crowd of over 1,000 junior division scholars who have come this far. If your name is not called, it is not because you are not a great debater. It is because there are only so many spaces in the debate showcase. So rather than focus on who is here and who is not, we ask that we join in a conversation that extends beyond the debate. Once these scholars are done debating, once the panel has left to their secret facility somewhere outside here, probably above water, we will open the floor to your contributions, to your ideas, to your part in this conversation.
Now, scholars, the speakers who will be coming up here are sitting out there right now. It could perhaps even be you. Who is excited and wants to be called up for the debate showcase?
Now, who is nervous and does not want to be called up to the debate showcase?
Who thinks they might stand up and run out of the room if their name is called up?
Who is excited hoping their teammate will be called up?
You guys either have a lot of confidence in your teammates or want them to be very nervous.
We may have a debate, we may not. Let's see how this goes.
Find out.
So, scholars, what we will do now, we will call up the speakers who will represent the affirmative and negative teams. If you are one of those scholars, we ask you to please bring up anything that you would take to a debate, including something to research with, write with. Of course, bring your alpacas. We will begin with the affirmative team.
The affirmative team should take their seats at the table with... Which table should it be?
I think it's only right that they take the table with the pineapple because, yes, pineapple pizza is an amazing thing.
Pineapple is affirmative.
36% of the scholars agree with you.
Our first affirmative team member comes to us from the country that is the world's largest democracy, from India, from Strawberry Fields High School, it's Saisha Swani.
Our next speaker on the affirmative team comes to us from Korea, from North London Collegiate School, Jeju. It is Yi Ji Hwang.
Our next affirmative team member, coming from Switzerland, from GEMS World Academy, Switzerland, please welcome Staff Schulman.
And our fourth and final affirmative speaker joins us from the United Arab Emirates, from pristine private school, Michael Angelo Katakutan.
And scholars, as the affirmative team members make their way up to their table, can we give all of the affirmative team a huge round of applause? And next, we will find out who they will be debating against. The first member of the negative team comes to us from Kazakhstan. From Haileybury, Astana, it's Ania Boranbey.
Our next speaker on the negative team comes to us from Mozambique, from Maputo International School. It is Anderson Domingos.
And our next affirmative speaker comes from Indonesia, from National High Jakarta School. Please welcome Nadia Annabelle Lumi.
And our fourth negative speaker, joining us at the table that does not have a pineapple on it. This speaker is from Kenya, from Brook House School, Sean Matu Thuri.
Scholars, give it up for your negative team.
And next, scholars, we will be calling out the panel of judges who have reserved VIP seating right here in the front row. If you are a panelist, please make your way to the front. Our first panelist is Nikolai Marev,
Followed by Iza Zapnik.
and next, Zainab Poyanli.
Alize Wasim.
Our next panelist is Kaisara Yazin.
And Joseph Inati.
And next, Jessica Yu.
And Gehua Wen.
Please welcome Selena Shu.
And Ramzi Metanes.
And Risa Umizaki.
Along with Despoina Petro.
Please welcome Soraya Muangi.
And Adya Mishra.
And our final panelist is Arnav Kedia. Scholars, put your hands together for our panel of judges. Now, scholars, we have an affirmative team, we have a negative team, we have a panel of distinguished judges, and we have an audience. What are we missing?
Half the negative team.
What else are we missing for this debate to be able to start?
The motion For today's Junior Debate Showcase at this Barcelona Global Round, resolved that a more entangled world is a more peaceful world.
Scholars on stage, you have 15 minutes to prepare.
Scholars in the audience, remember, after the speakers on the stage have finished, we will then be looking to you for your ideas. So as this 15 minutes begins for the speakers on stage, let the discussions also begin amongst the audience members. Think about how you would perhaps contribute to a discussion about this topic.
Good afternoon, scholars. We are about to start our Barcelona Global Round Debate Showcase. I'm sure you guys can all remember how nervous you felt during your debates. So I'm sure you can only imagine how these 8 lovely scholars might be feeling right now. So because of that, I ask you all to give a really, really warm welcome to our very first affirmative speaker.
Good afternoon, honorable judge and esteemed members of the opposition. Entanglement means relationships, and humans cannot live without relationships. Entanglements give us friendship, and entanglement means that we could understand each other by relationships. Therefore, we, the affirmative team, propose that a more entangled world would mean a more peaceful world. Now, with pleasure, I will talk about our team's points. As first speaker, I will talk about entanglement means more relationships. Our second speaker will talk about that entanglement would lead to the stop of wars and conflicts. Now, to open with my argument, our team would like to bring to your attention that entanglement means more relationships. Well, let's think about it. If there are no entanglements, it means no friends. It means no family. It means no understanding between people. It means no business. It means no political trades or political relationships. If you're not entangled, you just cannot know each other because you cannot communicate with each other. And if you have more entanglements, it means more relationships, right? That means more friends. That means more happiness. And if you have more friends and more allies, that will lead to peace, and that will lead to happiness between everyone. Also, at school, we do teamwork. And even the most clever people have to get entangled. They have to know each other, and they have to get into relationships to learn from each other and to think of something very big and which will lead to the peace. For example, there was a plague in Europe. So scientists entangled up together. They worked with each other. And so look at now. There are almost no people who get the plague, right? This clearly illustrates that entanglement between everyone would lead to more great inventions which will help the peace of the world. Need I say more? Honorable judge and fellow debaters, our team strongly believes that a more entangled world will lead to a more peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, affirmative speaker number 1. We'll allow 1 minute, and then the first speaker from the negative team will begin. All right, that is 1 minute. Everyone, please give a warm round of applause to our first negative speaker.
Ladies and gentlemen, the problem with the affirmative side is that their points are based off the idealistic view that relationships are perfect, that people don't have different opinions, and that everyone will get along just fine. But this isn't the case. You see, when people gather together and there are more entanglement and more relationships, people have more different opinions, and so that will result in conflict, obviously. And so we think that their points are very idealistic and based off of an unrealistic world, and so their points do not stand. Now, moving on to my points. Entangled means interconnected, and everyone is intertwined. So more different opinions, and that results in more conflict. And peaceful means no conflict and no war. So for us to win this debate, we only need to prove that an entangled world will result in more conflict, which will be our central point. So when people have different opinions, it is very hard to get along with each other because people think that their opinions are right, and that's what makes them their opinion. And so the closer you are to people, the more conflict there will be. For example, if there are some people in a party and some people hate pineapple on pizza, but some people love pineapple on pizza, that will result in more conflict. Then why don't you just have 2 separate parties so that everyone will be happy and there will be no conflict, there will be no useless fighting? Another example is borders. We have borders around countries because different people have different interests. And when we don't have borders, it will result in war. And so it will result in more conflict. And so what we are saying is that an entangled world is not a more peaceful world because people only think of themselves. People are selfish creatures, and therefore, more opinions will result in more conflict. Thank you.
Thank you very much, negative team. 1 minute until the affirmative team begins. All right, and now can we have the second speaker from the affirmative team?
We are one world. We are one planet. And that is because we are already connected. We are already entangled. Good afternoon. I am Saisha Swani from Class 8, Strawberry Fields High School, Chandigarh, India. And I am going to debate on the topic that a more entangled world is a more peaceful world. And I totally agree with it. When we are entangled, we understand one another. Imagine countries having good relationships. Each and every country in the world having a good relationship with another. There would be an understanding between different countries. This would lead to peace in the world. There would be no more wars in the world because everybody understands each other. Everybody can listen to one another, and everybody can have their own perspectives, and everybody, in the end, is one. In the early ages, man used to fight for food. They used to fight for water. They used to fight for basic necessities. But now, we are connected. If we get more entangled and connected, then we can benefit from one another. We can all be one, and we can benefit as a whole. Cultures would be exchanged when we are connected. Social media plays a huge role for us to be connected. So, when cultures be exchanged, there is more peace. Because nowadays, the wars that happen are based on religion. And I don't think that being one world, we should be divided. I say that we should be more entangled so that we can live a more happier and peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, affirmative team. Negative team, you have 1 minute. All right, and 1 minute has elapsed. Please welcome back the negative team.
Good afternoon, honorable adjudicators, worthy opponents, and fellow teammates. My name is Anya, and I'm the second speaker of the negative team today, and we are arguing the motion that a more entangled world is a more peaceful world. However, me and my team strongly disagree with this statement. Firstly, I would like to start with a few rebuttals against our affirmative team. They said that that more countries being entangled would lead to more peace, as they would all agree and find peaceful solutions. However, as the first speaker of my team already stated, the affirmative team is looking at a more idealistic world. We do not live in that kind of world. We live where opinions exist, where conflicts will arise. And even if we are more entangled, that does not mean we will all become one. That will mean several countries will share an opinion and several will share another. And there will be conflict between the two groups. For example, let's take Mexico and the US. They are close to each other, but they don't exactly have the best relations, do they? They share proximity, and you could say that they are quite entangled, but they do not have a good relationship. Now, I would like to move on to my main points. When we are less entangled, we can create peace within ourselves. The first step to finding peace is finding peace within yourself. And you can't do that if you are always bearing the burden of other people. We should have our time to better ourselves, to make ourselves more peaceful, and that way the whole world would benefit. My second point is an economic one. Some currencies are dependent to each other. And if one currency starts inflating or deflating, then the other currency will too. This is a perfect example of entanglement between currencies. And this devaluation of currency leads to so much chaos and conflict within different governments and even people within different countries. That does not make our world more peaceful, does it? The third speaker of our negative team will present more points and fully convince you that this motion should fall. Thank you.
Thank you very much, negative team. Affirmative team, you have 1 minute. All right, and that has been 1 minute. Please welcome the affirmative team once again.
Honorable adjudicator, respected opposition, fellow teammates, and audience, I am Stav Schulman from GEMS World Academy, Switzerland. My teammates and I strongly believe, without a shadow of a doubt, that a more entangled world is a more peaceful world. As the third speaker of the affirmative, I will rebut some major clashes stated by the opposition and elaborate my team's points. I will additionally discuss about our friendships and the lack of entanglements. Without further waiting, let's start with the rebuttals. The first speaker of the opposing team stated that when we entangle, we realize that we have different opinions, thus ending in conflict or war. However, let's think about this. We all here in this room have different experiences. We have different memories. We have different viewpoints. But if we entangle, even if we disagree, we would have more opportunity to understand those different viewpoints. We would have the opportunity to share those different memories. We would have the opportunity to entangle and respect the other viewpoints of people that we might disagree with. And by entangling, we would find more things that are in common. So, why shouldn't we entangle to relate? Let's move on. The second speaker of the opposing team argued that Mexico and the US have proximity, but don't have the perfect relationship. But this claim is simply incorrect. The US and Mexico are not entangled. They are not entangled, not by culture. They're separated by borders. Their presidents are not friends. They're not entangled. Thus, proving the other team incorrect. Now let's move on to my elaboration. The first speaker on my team, Jerry, rightfully stated that entanglements mean more friendships, family, business. In addition to this, let's think about what this would mean. Aristotle once said, we communicate with those we are alike. We communicate with those we can relate. This is only true because we can relate if we entangle. If we can entangle, we can relate, we can make peace with each other. The second speaker on my team, Saisha, added that in the early days, without the internet, without fast transportation, groups of early humans, without being entangled, they fought without empathy or peace for food or water. To elaborate on that, let's explore another idea. Before the World War II, Jews were locked inside ghettos, where they were not entangled with the outside world. They were locked, unfortunately. And the Germans thus didn't share many experiences and didn't entangle as much. They didn't have a lot of communication because they feared each other. And we all know what happened next. We all know what happened in World War II. And this only proves that entanglements actually make us avoid war. In conclusion, entanglements unite us. And without them, we would only live alone in the dark. And that's why this motion should stand. Thank you.
Thank you very much, affirmative team. Negative team, you have 1 minute to prepare your rebuttal. All right, and 1 minute has elapsed. Everyone, please join me in welcoming back the negative team.
What happens to one person happens to everyone, and each person's existence affects those around him. Good morning, respected adjudicator and fellow debaters and audience. Today, I stand here as the third speaker of the negative team, and we strongly believe that an entangled world will not result to a more peaceful world. First, I would like to address the points of the affirmative team. They've been going on and on about how everyone has different viewpoints and perspectives. Yes, we agree, but then they said that if everyone has different viewpoints and perspectives, and in an entangled world, people can work together, share these different opinions, and work out their differences. But we strongly believe that this is false, because human nature, humans don't easily respect other people's opinions easily, especially when they are different than theirs. For example, during the Sudetenland crisis, which leads to World War II, the Allied powers actually tried to work out their differences with Hitler. They actually tried to appease him by giving him the Sudetenland in Czechoslovakia. But at the end, it also failed, and it only resulted in World War II, a very huge world war. And thus, an entangled world will not result to a more peaceful world. The negative team, the affirmative team have also said how US and Mexico are not entangled. But first, I would like to point out that there are actually several economic agreements between them. And for example, one of them is the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now, to present my arguments, first, we believe that an entangled world will not result in a more peaceful world because everyone in this world is connected with each other. Each one of our emotions, behaviors, feelings, and actions will affect those around us. Our existence affects our friends, our family members, our teachers, and basically everyone in this environment. Everyone's behaviors will affect everyone, and it will create a chain reaction, a domino effect, which will create so many conflicts in this world. Just like the poem "No Man is an Island" says, everyone is connected. But then I would like to point out that when everyone is connected with each other, one person's conflicts will also cause other people to feel this conflict, to feel hurt, to feel uneasiness. For example, when you are angry, when you are furious, when you're mad, your bad actions, your bad mood, your anger will affect everyone around you, your friends, your family members. For example, when you're mad and you lash out at other people, such as your friends or your mother, you will also ruin your relationship with them. And with that, we strongly believe that an entangled world will not result in a more peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, negative team. Affirmative team, you have 1 minute to prepare your rebuttal. All right, and 1 minute has elapsed. Everyone, please welcome me in joining the final speaker of the affirmative team.
Good afternoon, honorable panelists, the wonderful opposing team, and my fellow team members. I am Michelangelo from Pristine Private School, UAE, and I am the fourth speaker of today's affirmative team debate. And I am following the motion that the more entangled world is a more peaceful world. Me and my team strongly believe that if our world, aka planet Earth, is more entangled, then the world would benefit. The United Nations would benefit because the world is peaceful now because of that organization. Now let's rewind to the past. If the tribes themselves were entangled, then there would be no World War I or World War II. Now let's rewind back to the present. This World Scholars Cup 2018. If our beloved alpaca in chief Daniel didn't have such a big entanglement with alpacas, then we might not have a mascot. We might not have these cute bears to cuddle up. Like my first speaker had said,
USA and Mexico are not entangled, and that is why they are feuding. And so then imagine if USA and Mexico were entangled. They might even create a new country to show their entanglement. Now, like my second speaker had said, we are one world, one planet. We have survived like this because we were entangled, we were connected, and we worked together as a team. Now, to conclude it all, we believe that if you aren't entangled, then you might as well live in the dark. Lastly, a more entangled world is a more peaceful world. Thank you.
Thank you very much, affirmative team. Negative team, you have 1 minute to prepare your rebuttal. All right, 1 minute has elapsed. Can everyone please welcome me in joining the very last speaker of the Junior Debate Showcase in Barcelona?
May I start? Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anderson Domingos from Maputo International School, Mozambique. I'm on the negative side, that the more entanglement the world is a more peaceful world. I would like to start my speech with a rebuttal to the first speaker. She said that when we have entanglements, when we have groups, right? But though, in those groups, don't we have fights? Don't we have conflicts with the people we work with? For the second speaker, she said that when we have entanglements, we will lose culture. But isn't what the culture that makes us who we are, the people who we are today? Aren't we all here to represent our country, our culture? The third speaker, she rebutted on my second speaker on how the USA and the Mexico are not connected. The Second World War, Russia and the United States fought for one. And do you see them together? They're having conflicts with each other. They fought as one. They were entangled, but that doesn't mean that they are together. That doesn't mean we're perfect. My speakers spoke how an entangled world doesn't mean it's perfect. We live in a real world, a world of illusions, a world that nothing is perfect. On with my first point. The Treaty of Versailles, it made sure that everybody was in peace. Everyone wanted to have peace. Italy and Germany fought against the others. But did you see? Italy backed off on their deal, leaving Germany to suffer for everything. And they were supposed to be entangled. The third speaker, didn't everybody see here when on the opening ceremony when Daniel had conflicts with their partner over pineapple pizza? Everybody has conflicts, and they're entangled. And my team here have been speaking, telling you on how entangled world isn't perfect, how everybody will have conflicts. We will have friendships and entangled world, but when we hurt each other, by doing good to the other, we will be hurting others. And is that what you want, to hurt other people? And we will lose our close friendships. We will have many friends, but what will happen to our real friends, the ones that stayed with us through everything? The third speaker mentioned how they used to fight for food and survival. But did you know that as soon as they would kick out people from their tribes, they would send them away to other places? Would you send your family, your friends, and everybody you love that you're entangled to somewhere far away? How do you expect to keep everything? And to conclude, we, the negative team, strongly believe that an entangled world is not a peaceful world, because a peaceful world does not exist. Thank you.
Scholars, give it up for our debaters! And now, scholars, like your debates yesterday, the judges will now decide and deliberate upon a winner for today's debate. In a moment, we'll be bringing the judges out to a secret location known as right outside to decide on who has won this debate, to discuss on who has won this debate. But for now, scholars, turn to a friend. Think about some things you would like to contribute to this discussion. Think about your thoughts, your opinions, any ideas that you have. Share with us whether you agree with this topic, whether you disagree, and why. In a moment, we'll be opening the floor up to all of you to share your thoughts, your ideas. Please remember that this is a moment for you to share your thoughts and your opinions, not to give your feedback to our debaters. Please note that this session is the exact opposite of what you had yesterday. Yesterday you gave feedback but did not continue discussing. Today you will continue discussing but not give feedback. Take a moment while our judges are dismissed. All right, our judges are outside. They are deciding who has won. We see that we have scholars in the audience ready to share their thoughts. Let's begin over here with Ike.
Okay, so I'm Itamar Galyan from the Rehovot School for Gifted and Talented from Israel, and I think that I clearly disagree with this motion. I think the main thing here is that the motion says a more peaceful world, and actually what creates conflict is connections. Think about it. If every person, everyone was disconnected from every other one, we would all live alone in small islands, all of our own. Would there be conflict between people? No, there will not be. So I believe that the motion, I do not agree with this motion because it said that the world would be more peaceful with more connections. The motion doesn't say that the world would be better with more connections, aka entanglements, but it says that it will be more peaceful. And I think that with more connections inevitably comes more conflict. So, in no way the world would be more peaceful if we had more entanglements.
All right, thank you, scholar. Scholars, give it up for our first audience. And audience members, remember to keep your points and your opinions short, concise, so many scholars will have the chance to speak. Let's move over there to Amy.
Hello, I am Akshat Pradeep Kumar and I'm from the New Millennium School in Bahrain, and I think that an entangled world is a much more better world because firstly, everybody is here because we are entangled. We have entangled relationships with each other. We are entangled by the fact that we love alpacas, we love Daniel, we love Chauncey, we love everybody here, and we love the fact that we love the subjects of Scholars Cup, and we are here with the same fact that and we're here because of the fact that we're all entangled by the things we like and the things we hate, like pineapple on pizza. So I think entanglement is a good thing.
All right, thank you very much. And now let's move back over to Eric.
Hi, I am Mikhail Pamov from Bulgaria. And what I want to say is that entanglement is basically interconnectivity. Two friends are just as entangled as two enemies because they are interconnected. And basically, because of entanglement, World War I grew as much as it did. Because without interconnectivity, without entanglement, it would just stay a small conflict and not this gruesome war that we know today. So in conclusion, entanglement is just as bad as it is good. So it won't create a peaceful world.
All right, thank you.
My name is Radha. I'm from Lahore Grammar School in Pakistan, and today I'm going to be supporting the affirmative side. I would like to say that the World Scholars Cup is all bringing us together. We are entangling with different people from different religions. Thank you.
Yeah, I think if it's the wrong part, you can just hold it. I'll hold on to it for now. Yeah, one second.
Hi, I'm Mila Fremovitz from St. George's School of Montreal from Canada. And I just wanted to kind of challenge the definition of peaceful as why does peaceful have to mean zero conflict? Why can't it just mean that everybody can respect each other? In an entangled world, everybody can make connections with each other, but they don't have to have no conflict. A peaceful world means being able to have mutual respect for everyone, not necessarily zero conflict. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Callum Weber-Smith. I'm also from Canada, and I support Team Negative for the reason that basically when these entanglements first happened, for instance, when colonials came to the New World, these created entanglements. People tried to make peace by making them have the same opinions. It didn't create peace, it created conflicts. We saw this in the 1945 India War, where people tried to make sure the British and the Indians had similar opinions, and this failed, creating conflict.
All right, thank you very much. Scholars, let's please remember to not talk while someone is sharing their opinions so everyone has a chance to hear them. And now back to EK.
Hi, I am Vidisha from the Indian High School, Dubai, and I support the affirmative team because if there was no entanglement in the world, we would not have fun. We would not be here if there was no entanglement. We would not see this debate, or even we would not debate. And we might not also be with our parents. We might leave our parents and live alone and won't be successful because entanglement is in relationships, which means to be close. So for these reasons, I support the affirmative theme. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Raleigh. I'm from Canada, University of Toronto Schools. Let's just talk about countries for a second. If we look at the United States, they went into Iraq to stop the nuclear weapons and to have this deal, and that made them entangled. But when they pulled out, it turned the entire thing into chaos and destruction for thousands of people. So, sure, it might be more peaceful for the time, but we can see that in the long term, countries just don't work that way. When they're entangled, they have conflict. That's inevitable.
Thank you for that very instructive remark. Let's move over to EK's side of the theater.
So I would like to, I'm Lauren, and I'm, closer? I'm Lauren, I'm from the St. George's School of Montreal in Canada, and I would like to argue the negative side because they argue that the affirmative team is looking from an idealistic view. But doesn't everybody want the ideal world? If we entangle ourselves, when we entangle ourselves, we will become closer, and we could, if when we entangle ourselves, it could ensure that we go to the ideal world that we all want. So there might be less war, but there'll still be conflict. There's always going to be a conflict. But if when we entangle ourselves, it will at least reduce it.
Thank you for these thoughts on the topic, perhaps the someday theme of an ideal world. Back to you, Amy.
Hi, I'm Ishan from Repton School, Dubai, and I think the negative team could have also talked about racism and discrimination, which have been caused because of entanglements. One example they could give is the transatlantic slave trade, and we are still feeling the repercussions of that event throughout the world at this given moment.
Thank you. I believe we have time for just one or two more remarks because our panel has returned from the secret chamber. Let us return to the EK side.
My name is Mohammad Zakia and I am from Pakistan, LGS. First of all, I'd like to say that I came to the World Scholar Cup and I made friends. I made friends from Korea, Japan, India, Israel, Palestine, etc., etc. And I'd like to ask, what's wrong in entangling with these people? What's wrong with making new friends? If you believe that being peaceful is sitting alone in a room without any friends, no entanglement, you are mistaken. Because entanglement creates relations, creates friends. And even though you may have conflict with these friends, you still would feel happy, you'd still be at home. And that's what being peaceful is. Thank you.
Thank you. And let's take one final remark from the Amy side.
My name is Anish. I'd just like to argue that a country needs to be entangled with the world or else it cannot supply its increasing demand for supplies.
So no nation is an island. Thank you all. We wish we could take every comment and every argument, but there is not enough time. Give yourselves a huge round of applause for the conversation and dialogue that you have begun here. We hope it continues all week long.
And now it looks like our panel of judges is back. Judges, have you decided on the winner? Yes? Well, if you could please join us on stage and let us know.
Please use the stairs, not the expressway. So, panel of judges, who speaks first for the panel? Please feel free to introduce yourself as you begin the verdict.
Oh, okay. Hi, my name is Jessica Yu, and I'm from Canada, representing University of Toronto Schools. And I would just like to say that all the judges here, like the panel, we were very shocked by how absolutely passionate and great this whole round of debate was. It was actually just mind-blowing. And so I would like to give some feedback for the affirmative team. And so in this case, proposition usually has more burdens because they have to like define the round, give the definition, and lead us to where this round is going to go in the end. And in this case, I believe that the proposition defined these terms very clearly, and so they defined entanglement as proximity in relationship, and that made it very easy for their team to defend, so that was a good stance that proposition took in the end. And I would also like to say that they were actually very clear on their stance and very together, because all of them basically agreed on this one thing. They gave us this one mechanism where they said that the more proximity people have, then there'd be more chances for interactions and more chances to understand each other. And that was a very clear mechanism that we received by the end of this round. And so overall, I believe it was a very good job. They gave us personal examples and really cute examples as well relating to alpacas. And so I would just like to congratulate the affirmative team. It was a very good round, and they were very good.
Hi everyone, I'm Arnav Kadia and I'm from the UAE and I'm representing GEMS World Academy Dubai. So I would like to give some feedback to the negative side. So we found your argument to be really persuasive and you provided emphasis on the points and the quotes that you made that made us want to agree with your argument. And you also were very confident with what you were saying and you made good use of hand gestures and movement around your space. And your arguments felt like one single flow instead of 4 different speeches. So that really showed that you had a really good strategy when you were debating as a team. And we really liked the way that you had real world examples that are happening in today's world to support your stance in the debate. And your rebuttals were very strong, and you were able to defend the points that you made in the debate. So overall, congrats to the negative side. Thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kesaria Yasin. I'm from Uganda, and I'm here to represent Aga Khan High School, Kampala. Today, I'm going to give feedback on both the negative and the affirmative team. This is what I have to say for the two teams. First of all, I'd like to commend both teams for giving us all an amazing debate. I have to say it was very interesting and very dramatic, which makes a debate very interesting. Moving forward, I'd like to say that all 8 speakers, had amazing confidence. The confidence here to stand in front of 1,200 or more people is actually shows great confidence in themselves and their teams. I'd also like to point out that both teams, they had the right attitude and the right passion for what they're saying. Both of them, they clearly stated their status quo and their stand in this debate. And also, I'd like to say that this points out to most of the negative team. The negative team and the affirmative team, they had active movement around the stage, which shows that they are very active and they know what they want and they have a way of convincing people. Thank you.
Right, so through all this, I hope you already know who the winner is. Okay, before I announce, let me say, oh my gosh, that is a lot of people. And number 2, the winner is it okay if I have a drum roll, please, from all of you guys? All right, thank you. It's the people you love, the people you all cheer for, and the people with the correct pizza topping. It's the non-pineapples or the negative.
Scholars, give up for the negative. Congratulations, negative team. Well done, affirmative team. And now, debaters, as per World Scholars Cup tradition, can you please cross benches and shake hands? And audience, one final time, give it up for everyone on stage, your judges, your affirmative team, and your negative team. Thank you all.